How can one person be a natural example of a leader? Is it the obstacles in life that one overcomes? A son of Austrian immigrants, Reno Zinzarella flashed on the football field, in the classroom as a student and a teacher, and as a father. So I guess where did it all start? I know we had family over in Austria.
Right. Well, first of all, the Zinzarella name sounds to most people to be Italian, but my parents were native of Austria, and they spoke Italian because they were in a section of Europe which was multi-language, and Italian was the principal language, and the language of educated people was Italian.
The first Zinzarella to immigrate over to the United States was Reno's grandfather, Charles, in 1910. Shortly after, Reno's father, August, in 1914. Both would find work in the anthracite coal mines of Pennsylvania, out in the small but quickly populating town of Mount Carmel.
And I think my father really left Austria because of the impending war. And he came to America and came to work for $1 a day in the anthracite coal mines of Pennsylvania, and returned home with, I don't know how much, I think 2 years or so. He had money, and he married my mom, and they came to the United States and had raised a family of three: my brother Julian, my sister Mary, and myself. I was the baby.
August Zinzarella returned to Austria and married Justina Stankina, and they both would travel back to Mount Carmel to raise a family. January 31st, 1929. Reno Zinzarella was born, the youngest of three, and raised in this blue-collar town. Education was at the staple of his upbringing by his parents.
My father was very busy. He used to walk to the coal mine, walked about 2.5 miles in all kinds of weather, rain, snow, sleet. Get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and walk to the mines, down the shaft, about 600 feet, whatever it was depth. Spend 12 hours mining coal in the dust, explosions. We used to see the ambulance go back and forth from the mines to the hospital. It used to come past our house. And of course, Mount Carmel being in an anthracite coal mining area, they went to work we had 7 coal mines in the area there where the people worked. My father spent his whole career here in the United States working in the coal mines. And fortunately, he didn't get killed, which was, happens many times, so many times. And he did, every coal miner contracted miner's asthma, which was a form of lung cancer, really.
August wouldn't permit Reno or his older brother Julian to work with him in the mines as other fathers had. August wasn't just fixated on working in the coal mines either. He and his wife Justina had accumulated 3 houses and had their eyes on bigger things as well.
My parents opened a grocery store. There were many mom and pop grocery stores in the Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel had 14,000 people, so there were entrepreneurs, and they started their businesses, and they did very well. And then the Depression came, and I was the Depression baby. And as my parents used to say I brought the Depression, and they went out of business. Then they developed the bar. Because in the coal mining area there, the towns had several bars usually. And my father opened the bar, and my mother they took in boarders, people who came from the Tyrol where they were from. They took in men who came to America for temporary housing, and so they fed them. My mother washed their clothes, and basically my father was a good businessman. He was bright, and he took care of their banking needs, and if they had any legal problems, he steered them to the attorneys, and if they had any medical problems, they go on to the doctor. So my mother was in a position in the community because she was educated, and she was a teacher. She taught in the Catholic school, and she taught secular subjects. My mother was not a nun, and they were highly respected. My father and mother were leaders in the community, but yet my father was very humble. Because he said he was not as educated as my mother was, or as other people were, but he was intelligent. Well, first of all, in the coal mining town, Mount Carmel, in the coal mining area, football was a big thing. And to some people, it became a ticket to a new life, college education. Anyhow, I wanted to go to college. I was a good student all the way through school, and not a discipline problem. God forbid my father would nail me to the wall, or my mom would too. I came along there, and I said I wanted to play football. Mount Carmel High School was always a strong athletic team in every sport, especially football. Football in the coal mines was a big thing. And we had a stadium that seated 15,000 people. And I mean a stadium, it was steel bleachers. Very well kept, and the field was maintained. And football was a big thing. So anyhow, I wanted to go to college. So my teacher used to say, if you study hard, you can go to college. You can play sports, football, basketball, baseball. There's always scholarships available.
And Reno wanted to play football in the place that they called the Silver Bowl. To him, it's a place where he could go land a college scholarship and an education. In order to play for the Red Tornadoes, it would take a bit of convincing to his father.
Anyhow, when it came time for my time, my father said that he didn't say you don't go to school to play, you go to school to learn. So anyhow, I sneaked my way out for football in Mount Carmel. And bitty football, I signed my father's own signature to the permission card. So anyhow, I came home and I made the team. So I came home and tell my mom, I said, I made the team. She says, you're going to have a problem when Pop comes home from, he used to call Dad Pop. When Pop comes home from work, he does not want you to play football. He said, the politicians make money on you, which was true. They used to steal the money, some of the school board members. So anyhow, I asked Mom to support me. I said, I want to go to college and I can earn a scholarship or what have you. So Mom says, let me. So at dinner time, we were eating and Mom said, Pop, Reno's got something to talk to us about. So I told him the story about how I wanted to go to college, and he knew I was a good student. And I said I want to get a scholarship, and they can, So he said, okay. He says, when you play football, he says, when football practice is over, he said, you go home with your books and you study. And you want to know what? He used to walk from the living room to the dining room to the kitchen in our house while we were, all three of us, the kids, Julian, myself, and my sister Mary. And then, of course, when they were left and went to college, I was there by myself, and my father would be smoking his pipe, and he'd be looking there. He says, "Notice, pay attention to your book."
When Reno was finally allowed to play, he excelled not only on the football field, but in the classroom as well. Playing both offense and defense, he was a tackle and a defensive end. He earned a distinguishing award that caught the eyes of college coaches everywhere.
The opportunity to go to college. When I got into high school, I was all-state defense and thing, and that was a big thing. Well, boy, that was a guarantee that you'd be recruited for college. And boy, I started getting visits from Bear Bryant, who was a very famous coach.
Yes, that Bear Bryant. At the time, Bryant was the head football coach at the University of Kentucky and badly wanted Reno to play for him. Even some monetary gifts, which would be frowned upon in the eyes of the NCAA today, couldn't convince him to play.
During the process of recruiting, I met Bear Bryant. Came to my house, drove up, found out my address, and drove up and rang the doorbell. And my mom was home, my father was at work, and said he would like to talk to me, and Mom said, sure. So he invited me to the University of Kentucky. So I went to the University of Kentucky and I spent Easter vacation there. Bear Bryant gave me the train fare and everything, the revenue to go there. Paid for everything, and boy, he really put the sell on. He wanted me to go to University of Kentucky, but I of course didn't go.
All in all, there were 35 scholarship offers to choose from schools like Penn State, Kentucky, Notre Dame, Army, and Penn. It was the advice of his parents that ultimately helped him choose his school.
And football became my meal ticket. God, the benefits I got from going to Penn, and that's the thing that was impressed on me. Where you go could affect your career, and it's true. It's true. You go to a football factory. You have a reputation as a football player, but how long are you going to be a football player? You could become a football coach, but is that your career's objective? Or you want to be a teacher?
And so Reno was on his way to play football at the University of Pennsylvania. He'd be a part of one of the greatest Penn freshman teams ever assembled. A team that would go undefeated and outscore their opponents 111-8.
So, I went to Penn. I got hurt, of course. Did I get hurt? And a guy in the Army almost killed me. I was going down under they teach you when you're punting. You're punting the ball when as soon as you hear the thump of the ball, you look up. Well, I looked up and boy, I got clocked. I got blocked by a guy from Army. Jesus, he knocked me into the high jump pit, which was full of the soft soil and wood chips and stuff like that.
Although injuries kept him off the field and from playing what he loved to do, Reno still accomplished his main goal: to go to college and to get an education. Education would be his new ambition, something that has lasted for almost 70 years. It's the traditions and ideals that Reno has passed down to his kids, Gene and John Zinzarella, and now to me and his other grandchildren that stick out. Whether it's the love of playing and watching football, his acts of service during the Korean War, or accomplishing the long and difficult road of achieving the Eagle Scout Award, the highest rank in the Boy Scouts, something that now spans 3 generations. May we all use Reno and those before him as an example of hard work and determination. At the end of every phone call with his grandchildren, he will tell you what his father told him before: study hard.